Find out right now, cause BruKnows. He knows. BruKnows. What you tryna find out? 3, 2, 1, BruKnows starts now.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of BruKnows. Today's podcast is actually sponsored by Green District. If you guys haven't heard of Green District, it's a chopped salad company taking over America, basically. I'm excited to be a part of the corporation. They've been great to me. They got great food, very healthy food. And today, I actually have the CEO of Green District, Jordan Doepke. Is that how I pronounce it?
Nobody ever pronounces it right. Doepke.
Doepke.
Whatever
Doepke.
you want,
Yeah, Jordan Doepke's here with us, ladies and gentlemen. He is the CEO of Green District. I would say probably the best dressed CEO in the game, you know? And he may or may not have the Fountain of Youth in their lemonade, because this is amazing.
Oh, that's not the Tim, man. That's Tim Spong. A lot of credit to Tim Spong on that. Fresh squeeze daily.
Yeah, dude, it's so good.
Yes,
you guys
sir.
do it in the back?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't do food stuff.
Well,
He's the operator, man.
Yeah, let them figure it out,
bro.
bro.
I can do podcasts with cool people, you know.
No, that's awesome, man. Well, number one, I want to thank you for letting us do this at your restaurant. So we're actually at the Green District off Briargate in Colorado Springs. And if I remember correctly, right, there's 13 Green Districts open now.
Correct.
And
Yes,
you'll
sir.
have 30 total or 30 more by Q1?
So we have 33 leases signed in 8 states.
Wow.
13 open right now. So we're doing 4 in, where are we doing 4 at? Oh, 3 in Phoenix, 5 in Colorado, 4 in Salt Lake, 2 in Nashville, 6 in Louisville currently with 4 more coming, 5 in Cincinnati,
Wow.
6 in Indianapolis. So
Jeez,
33 in
dude.
8 states, baby.
Yeah, just world domination, I guess, you know?
Trying, man. We're trying to get there.
That's awesome.
It's awesome, man. Really
So you guys are Louisville based. Is that where it started?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you play for the university, or how did you get connected with Louisville community? Because from what I hear, this is the biggest restaurant in Louisville, you know? Everybody goes to Green District.
I mean, yeah, in the 6 units, we get 30,000 people a week, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We are a corporate sponsor of the university. We have 2 kiosks at the football stadium. It's
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool. Yeah, we were the number 1 subcontractor for the first 2 games, got a big write-up. There's 10 universities that are doing, kind of outside of the box thinking when it comes to food.
Yeah.
So who would have thought a wrap and a salad at a game would have been dope, but people are eating it. So I didn't play at Louisville. I played at Indiana Wesleyan soccer.
Okay.
And then I was on a Rapids feeder team out here.
You look like a striker. You were a striker?
Striker.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, I would say I'm a poor man's version of David Beckham. I couldn't score, all the time, but occasionally I might get lucky and put one in the back of the net. But yeah, so I came out here to Colorado, man, actually for a job. I got dared to go play, or I guess try out for a team, and made it with a couple of friends here. Shout out to Pride Soccer and Brian Contreras, good friend of mine, when I lived here some 13 years ago. So I played soccer, and then my family was like, hey, grow up, get a big boy job. You ain't making no money playing soccer. So I moved back to Louisville, and when I moved back, I met a pretty awesome dude named Chris Furlow, who's my business partner.
Yeah, I met Chris the other day.
Yeah, good dude from England. So we were coaching youth soccer, and we just wanted to come up with a way to work together. And Green District, I guess, evolved some 5-6 years later, and
That's
here
awesome.
we are, man. Now we're working together. So I do have to give a quick shout out to Chris, because we wouldn't be where we're at without him and his lovely wife Sarah and their 3 beautiful children, because they sold their gym. They were in the top 5% of Anytime Fitness gyms.
Wow.
And he sold it to come run Green District full time, which
Dang.
that's a big sacrifice. So,
Yeah.
We owe a lot to them. So he ran it. He called me. He goes, brah, I sold 5 franchises. You got to get your butt over here, man. So here I am. Been here 2 years now.
Dude, that's so wild. And what's really cool, first off, I met Chris, great guy. I could listen to that dude talk forever. His voice is just so cool.
Hey, man.
He's got the English voice there. But you and Chris actually remind me of me and my business partner, Matt. Right. I think you and I are a lot alike, but Matt's kind of like the calmer guy. But
Totally.
I remember
you saying I'm not calm?
sometimes. But no, it was really cool, because the way we started our company was literally one day he just came into the office. We knew we were trying to come up with an idea together. I was still a financial advisor. We took out a notebook, started writing stuff down. And then by the end of that day, I quit. And then we just launched our company both feet in,
So cool, brother.
But sometimes you find those friends, and it's a lot of people would say that friendship and business don't really mingle. How have you guys been able to, deal with that, or has it been really easy to work with somebody like Chris?
It's funny, I get that question a lot, and people are like, oh my gosh, you work with all your friends and your family. I'm like, life is work and work is life. Like, I don't think there's much, life-work balance, because if you don't believe in what you're doing and you're not passionate about it, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
It's your job, go do something else, So Furlow would say we've never been, Chris, Furlow, I call him Furlow. Furlow would say that we've never been in an argument. We probably haven't, because he won't argue. He'll just be like, you're wrong, I'll prove it. So it's been awesome for me. I mean, you see the people that have been here today and the people that have supported us the past couple of days, open our second restaurant in Colorado. It's just crazy to see it in the way that God, karma, universe, whatever it is for you, it's God for me. But, when you just see people buying into the passion, like I woke up this morning, I had 98 unread text messages of people that just said, thank you for what Green District is doing in this community. And I don't know, I love Chris, I love Green District. Why would that be a problem to work together?
Yeah, dude.
I don't get it,
I love that outlook, though. And I feel like, a lot of this stuff was probably meant to happen. And you probably see those similarities now that everything's kind of piecing together. But my biggest question for you, too, is, I know you're involved in other stuff. Was that before Green District, during Green District? I mean, what are you actively doing besides, spearheading the Green District brand?
Yeah, man. We want to build an empire, I guess. I don't really know what that means, but for us, Green District is really about influence, and I think that there's money, power, influence. But money and power really don't mean much without influence. I think example. I joke like my lovely mother. Hi, Mom. Treva Doepke. She's amazing. Grandma Toby, as Dashie would call her, but that's my 4-year-old. But she said to me, she was like, "Why are you doing this? Like, you weren't really into healthy eating." And I said, "Mom, it's about influence, right? And the influence is important. If LeBron James tweets something, my mom doesn't care. She doesn't like sports. Everybody eats lunch. So we thought this was a great way to start it. And so we have a couple different companies that surround it. Last year paid 7 K1s, or when I filed my taxes, an interesting thing, I don't even think I knew what a K1 was 5 years ago. So it's not like I'm some smart businessman. It's that you surround yourself with really smart people when it comes to business. And then if you're passionate about something and you drive that ethos, people just want to be a part of it. So, we have a brand, media, apparel agency. Shout out to Shark Jockey, Nick Stover, love you, bro. So we work with them. We're really big into NIL, name, image, likeness.
Okay.
Because I think, here's an example. If a little girl's great at piano, she's 13 years old, and somebody wants her to play at a wedding, you can pay her to do that. She can still get a music scholarship. Wow. If I'm a dope soccer player and I want to train a kid and they pay me, why do I lose my amateur status? NCAA.
Right.
So I think they deserve to be paid. So NIL is a big focus for us. So we kind of have a side gig, but we're kind of running it through the ecosystem of Green District.
Okay.
So as we turn on franchising, we're building businesses around the model of what Green District is.
Yeah.
Because what is it? Nobody knows.
It's a lifestyle, though.
That's
it's a
what
culture,
it is. So I have to say one thing real quick. Deanne Turner, who was the HR manager at Chick-fil-A, 33 years. She's been a mentor of mine, and she's got a consultancy, and we definitely want to partner with her to just get some more knowledge. But standing on a corner in Miami, closing a deal, signing a lease, and she told me, she said, "Jordan, Chick-fil-A is amazing." She said, "But Chick-fil-A could change one thing. They want to be more of a lifestyle brand. Instead, they're just kind of a drive-through chicken place. Not that they're not awesome, and they're efficient as heck, right? But they're not really a lifestyle brand. Nobody wants to wear a maroon polo, a visor, and a headset all the time. People would rather be themselves. You know? So
or say my pleasure. I had a buddy who used to work at Chick-fil-A. He'd open the door. I'm like, thanks. He's like, my pleasure. I'm like, bro, stop. Don't bring your work home, okay? You got to leave it at the door.
Bro, Deanne wrote the book, It's My Pleasure.
Really? That's so cool.
Deanne Turner, so pretty cool, man. But we're just in everything, man. It's all about the community. One thing about our restaurants I think that's worth mentioning is we get local artists. And so we bring them in and we give them full reign to do what they want. It could be a mural, could be a special piece of furniture. As you obviously see, you're sitting in a family room. You can see into the kitchen and watch these awesome people prep this fresh food daily. So, man, it's about the community. So we're just trying to get involved with anything. We've but partnered with, probably 10 different charities now. We want to find some, key premier partners so we can kind of grow that side of it. But like I said, in a little town like Louisville, you get 30,000 people a week. That's some influence. And
you guys just opened one in the university. Is it open yet? Or
so we've got 2 kiosks at the Cardinal Stadium. We're doing a health and wellness challenge with the athletic department, and we're working to go into the food hall where the athletes eat at. So it's pretty cool to see.
That's so awesome. Yeah, we were hanging out the other day at the grand opening, and Jordan just is like, hey, I'm on a Zoom call. You want to hang around? And I'm like, sure. And he just throws me in front of like the whole Louisville basketball team. And I'm just like, oh, hi guys. Like, didn't even know what to say. But no, that's really cool, man. And, when I was in college, they didn't have the NIL. I'm sure same for you. And so now I'm just very interested in how that's even working, right? So how are you guys partnering with these athletes? Or at least, because what I love about Green District, we said it's a lifestyle, right? But it's also that influence of if we could just get people to eat healthier, right? Even if it's replacing a couple fast food meals with a place that's quick, great, and healthy, that makes a big difference. But how are you working with those current athletes that you guys are bringing on board?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, there's still a lot TBD, out there to be determined because, a lot of these payments and different opportunities and contracts and instances haven't been litigated yet.
Yeah.
So nobody really knows how that's going to work out financially, governmentally, especially with these universities being regulated the way that they are. So if I were to narrow it down and summarize it, I put it in 2 categories. Category 1 is those really high-paid athletes that are probably going to go pro, or at least have an insane marketability, a lot of followers. They're already an influencer on a specific level.
Yeah.
They expect higher contracts, bigger money, which I respect.
Right.
I don't think I have enough to dabble in that game yet. Someday, in the name of Jesus, right? Amen. Let's get some money. But I don't think we're going to play in that game. So what we're really rooting our focus in is workforce development and business education.
Yeah.
I have to give a shout out to the University of Louisville men's basketball team. As you were on that call with me, 12 out of 14 players signed up to do that. It's like, why do these kids want to listen to me? But it's cool because, we can rep the gear, we can wear the shoes and be like, man, you can still do business and be cool.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to wear a suit. You don't have to be in a boardroom and be stuffy and, make people feel stupid because they didn't have a college education or whatever.
Right.
So the workforce development side, Kenny Payne is the coach there. He's an amazing guy, and he's going to change our city. I mean, the basketball team's going to come back with a vengeance. Can't wait to see it. So we were at a fantasy camp a couple weeks ago, which is basically just a bunch of rich folks that get to go play basketball and the players coach them. That's kind of what it is. Shout out to GS3 who put those things on. But Kenny said to me, and this is really cool in front of all the kids and all the guys and women, but mostly gentlemen that paid to come play basketball. And he said, hey, this young man has it right. As he gave me his cell phone number, I was a little like fanboy. This dude's he's a baller, man.
Yeah.
And so he said, this dude's got it right. The money's the cherry on top. The sundae is business education.
Right.
And he said, these kids are my guys and I'm protecting them. You can't just buy them.
Yeah.
You have to educate them because, less than 0.5% of them are probably going to go pro across the board, maybe 1 or 2 from the team, if that, at U of L. We hope it's 10, Kenny, in the future, right?
Yeah.
But, these kids need business education because, I had a great mom and dad that really taught me a lot, but admittedly, I'm the second person to graduate college in my family.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have that upbringing,
Right.
My grandma didn't have running water and electricity and had 11 brothers and sisters in one room.
Right.
And a lot of these kids come from a background like that.
Yeah.
Whether you call it ghetto or this or that, whatever, man. It's just a tough upbringing, and nobody put their arm around them and said, hey, do you know how to file your taxes when you write that contract afterwards?
Yeah.
Save some money because you're going to owe taxes.
Well, what's crazy is, there's that lack of education just in general. You don't even need to be from necessarily the ghetto. Like, you could be from like a well-off family and still not understand money or business. And I think that's really important too, because you hear stories of like, Allen Iverson just made a ton of money, didn't know what he was doing with it. Luckily, he signed that contract with like Reebok, so I think he still gets paid a little bit. But I mean, the guy might have made $100 million in his career and has, nothing to show for it. Now he's broke.
It's crazy.
And a lot of these guys, hopefully everybody goes on to be an all-star, right? But a lot of them have to find a way to transition,
100%.
So are you guys building like classes where it's like mentorship and just getting them a sense of like, hey, these are how contracts work. This is how to leverage your name and likeness and stuff like that?
Yeah, so Green District has 4 cultural pillars and then 3 business pillars. So our 4 cultural pillars are culture, heritage, integrity, and character. And we say that because we don't really care what your skin color is. We care about your culture and your heritage, right? A lot of people in the same race. I got black friends, they all look different.
Right.
I got white friends, I got Asian friends, I got Indian friends, they look different. So your culture and your heritage, we want to talk about all day long. Your integrity and your character need to follow with it. Because if you don't have that, we don't want to be with a liar, we don't want to be with a cheater. You have a moral responsibility to your fellow man, woman, non-binary person to make sure you respect them. So those 4 pillars, we're building a program around those. Those are our cultural pillars. Our 3 pillars for business are salads, employees, and communities. And so with those 7 pillars, we're creating a program called Grow You. And under Grow You, grow-u, wink, wink, apparel, baby, big U, collegiate. You see where we're going. So Grow You, but under that is GDPD squared, so Green District Professional and Personal Development. So we not only want to teach them conflict resolution, interpersonal relationship skills, how to handle it when your emotions are through the roof and they're through the floor, right? You're up and down, highs and lows. That correlates to business because you feel that when you work, right? So what's great about it is, you've got Tim Spong, who's here today with us. He's the attorney that founded Chipotle. Think you could learn something from that guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he had pretty good stock options, but we won't talk about that on air. He's a private guy. We've got Mitch Huff, who's U.S. Foods, 14 years, has written contracts there. We've got Rob Rice, Le Cordon Bleu, professionally trained chef. Wolfgang Puck, 24 restaurants, 4 countries.
Killing it.
Chris Furlow from England, a serial entrepreneur, worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers in Australia. Lance Little ran Paychecks. He was number 1 twice in 8 years, always in the top 5 in the country out of Little Podunk, Kentucky. Paycheck's second largest payroll company in the United States. I could go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Brent Engel, 11 years training at Papa John's. Kathy Ryback, she was the CFO of Hat Shack, sold to Lids. They had 49 units. She then managed the Moe's largest franchise owner in the country. You
guys got the dream team, right? You got a roster.
Yeah, Mel Brummett, 10 years, Red Bull, marketing. I mean, I could just go down the list forever. We've just, male, female, non-binary. We accept everybody. We love everybody. And it's like the talent that we're amassing. I don't even know why they want to work here because we sure don't pay enough.
No, but I think what's really cool too is, just even understanding that, people have their certain skills, but the ability to move up within the company, I think is really cool, right? I think you guys created a place where people know, hey, if they come in here, they could actually grow and get advice. And hey, if you want to do something, as I was hearing, you talk the other day, and it's like, hey, if you have an idea, like, I feel like everybody feels like they're a part of the actual company, which is super special. It's a different kind of culture. Where you look at most corporations and you're just, a number on a balance sheet, just like, hey, is he hitting certain metrics, right? But one thing that you mentioned, I think, and I fall a lot into that, right, is you could still be a business owner and be cool, right? So when I graduated college, I went into the financial services industry. I was a financial advisor. And so for a couple of years, right, I'm playing this role. I'm wearing suits. Don't get me wrong, your boy was looking fresh, right? But it was just, I was conforming, kind of trying to fit in. And I heard, are you from the insurance background too? Well, how'd you get your start in there?
Yeah, man, I got my life and health and P&C license in 2004 because I wasn't smart enough to finish all the financial services testing. So they put me on the insurance side.
I failed a couple, but I got in there eventually.
I was like Tom Brady, the 6th round draft pick. So hopefully we get some Super Bowls eventually. But yeah, man, insurance is a great industry because, no matter recession, not recession, good times, bad times, it's always going to be there because everybody has to have it. So give a shout out to my father and uncle because they both were in that industry.
Oh, that's awesome. Well. Did you go work with them right out of college? Or?
Heck no, man. I don't want them telling me what to do. They told me what to do my whole life. I'm not working for them, no way. But no, they taught me a lot, and I got to work with them on a couple different things. And yeah, man, I love it. But one thing I missed, and I apologize, I want to go back to it. You asked about the classes.
Yeah.
We just taught our first one. Kathy taught a P&L class, a profit and loss statement.
Yeah.
And then it talks about financial statements, balance sheet, you mentioned a couple times. But, we find a lot of our GMs, like, they don't even really know what that means. Like, they hear the words P&L, they hear the, EBITDA, but what does that stand for? And so it was really cool. Through that class, we had 13 people within the company that did it. And I was in Cincinnati in Blue Ash at one of our stores we opened, and Darian works there. I call him D-Money. And so I walked in with my mom, and me and D-Money were just kind of rapping, and he was prepping for the day. And he
rapping raps or just freestyling?
Rapping. I was dropping bars. No, I can't do that. I wish I could do that. But we were literally just talking, and my mom was like, "This is so cool," because it's right by my parents' house where they live. And D said, "Hey, man, I wanted to tell you." My mom said, "When are you going to get out of food service, man? It's not a reputable career." And he said, "Mama, you don't know Green District." He said, "Mom, what does EBITDA mean?" And she said, "I don't know." He goes, "Well, I do. So until you know what it means, don't tell me my career is bad." And I was like, wow.
That's so cool.
That's what we want.
And even
That's why we
skills
did it.
that people can, like they don't necessarily need to work at Green District for their entire life, but being able to give them a building block for something, right?
Absolutely.
I feel like a lot of your employees will leave here with skills to, hey, like maybe one day they'll open up their own restaurant or,
Absolutely.
Whatever that may be. But
Absolutely.
the question I had for you too, and was just, did you conform when you got out of college to try and fit like the corporate role? And at what point were you like, screw it, I'm gonna just be myself? Was it when you got, your tats?
Man, I can't take that. I got to give Furlough all the credit for that because I didn't get this till I was like 36. But
That's fresh. It's fresh.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
I Shine Inc. out in Sacramento. Look him up. He's amazing. Man, it was hard, like, because I am definitely a nonconformist and I'm definitely insanely opinionated. I wouldn't say it's argumentative. It's just that I ask questions because I want to learn more. And so I kind of like the suits. I digged it. I digged it for a while. I had a couple custom suits made when I could afford it. And I would, just kind of like freshen it up and put like something cool on the inside.
Yeah, a little pocket square.
Yeah, or with my name and have like a silk lining, that had like skulls on it or something.
Yeah, dude.
So I would always kind of do that, working buttonholes or whatever. Yeah. It was good for me though. I joke, my grandfather served in the military and I joke that I get kicked out of boot camp, in the first 30 minutes. But when it comes to corporate America, there was a lot to learn. Yeah. And what I liked about it is not that it was cutthroat, but it was competitive. So transitioning from, college sports, and then I didn't end up playing pro soccer for a couple years. So I worked for, 4 years in an independent insurance agency. So kind of watching people grind and seeing these dudes and these ladies that were successful at it, it was like, okay, this is competitive. So I shut up and just listened and asked a lot of questions. And then I realized, man, I can do this on my own. I think I can do this better. Yeah. So it was like a mixed bag, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, when it comes to just CEOs in general, or you see somebody either being a thought leader or spearheading something or really influencing people, right? I think you'll find a commonality even between you and like Kobe Bryant and like all these other people. And it's something mental, right? It's kind of like this self-awareness. For you to do so much and be able to, spearhead something like this, I think it's important for people to know you have to be able to control your thoughts, right? Every single moment is valuable to you probably because you could be having a conversation with Tim and working some stuff out. And, the modern culture would call it like an awakening, right? I do a lot of like studies myself. I, read a lot about being able to control like the power of thought, right? And most people have the same thoughts every single day. 90% of people, same thoughts, right? And then there's a point in your life where you like awaken like, oh, I could do anything really if I just set my mind to it. How early was that moment for you? Do you remember a time where you're like, oh, I'm different, or oh, I can do so much?
Wow, that's how much time we got?
Yeah.
I owe a lot to my wife. I think she's a tough cookie. She's the most beautiful woman in the world, and she's perfect in every way in the sense that she challenges the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And it's something that I respect in her. And I think when I got to Colonial Life, so this was probably about 10 years ago, I saw that they sold through brokers and Aflac sold direct to businesses. Right. And so in my mind, something clicked where life is only widgets and distribution. Whatever your widget is, it's a product, it's a podcast, it's a tree, it's a plant, it's a furniture, it's water, it's salads. That's the widget. How do you distribute it to people? And I think when like the technology boom started to change and like insurance, less than 5% of auto insurance and homeowners insurance was sold, through the internet. And now it's like 65%. So I think when we got married, we've been together 7 years. We got married, I left Colonial, went to Aflac, and that's where I met her. Aflac switched. Yeah. And so a publicly traded Fortune 123 company who, side note, 75% of their revenue comes from Japan. Shocker. Wow. A lot of people don't know that.
Didn't know that.
But the year that I came over there, they did $2.6 billion in sales in just the United States. Yeah. And that's only 25% of their revenue. Wow. Something clicked with me that this field force distribution of 60,000 people was all direct to business. Yeah. And 96% of businesses are small businesses, right? Yeah. And I'm like, wow, they found a niche. And other insurance carriers weren't selling that product. And then Colonial Life, where I work, sold 90% through brokers. Yeah. So the widget distribution conversation like kind of triggered something in my brain, and I'm like, man, I can do this on both sides. Yeah. So like, why can't you
with anything?
Yeah, anything. Why can't you have your cake and eat it too? So to translate that to green district, if that's
Yeah.
okay. I don't know if this is where you're going with it.
No,
but,
yeah.
So we think a green district, like, we respect the triangle of those restaurants out there that have done it.
Yeah.
McDonald's being not at the top because the triangle's the strongest shape and you can flip it around and it's still the same shape, right?
Yeah.
So McDonald's being one of the largest landowners in the country, right, outside of the federal government, they sold a lot of franchises. So they really mastered that. Chipotle, we mentioned Tim. Chipotle was corporate owned. They really mastered that. Chick-fil-A, no disrespect, but they claim to be franchisee, but they're more like owner-operator because, they own the land. They take 50, percentage of gross, 50% of EBITDA. So why can't we ping pong ball around and be all three of those?
Yeah.
And then why can't we have a lifestyle brand? I mean, I told you, Deanne said that to me. What a compliment,
Well, I need some threads once you guys get it going.
Absolutely.
Right?
Shout out to Sylvanus Hudson IV. He's doing a lot of that apparel design and working with different designers. Dan Naza. We got Joel Wofford over here. We've got a really good design team that's putting together a lot of really dope swag. But it wasn't right, and I admire Virgil Abloh. I think he kind of triggered some stuff in my brain when he started to come on the scene. And you're like, dang, man, Kanye, I like him. He's a little wild for me sometimes, a little opinionated, like, you ain't got to say it like that. Like Trump, and Kanye, I'm like, why y'all got to say it like that? Like, be nice, man. Like, just be cool, bro. Like, just be nice. But my brain, like you said, it doesn't turn off. And I try to figure it out when I go to bed. Obviously, that's the only time. But like you said, every minute of every day, I have an opportunity to learn. And when I hear people say, get 1% better every day, I'm like, get 99% better every day. What you talking about? You should be doing something every day that's educating you on something that's driving your passions and your convictions. And if you're not doing that, then I think you're lazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could ask Brian. We've been knocking out podcasts like crazy. And the moment I sat down in the chair, I'm like, dude, I really love this. And right now it's just a project, really, right? It's just something that we're dabbling in. But it's really fun. And it gives me opportunities to talk to guys like you, kind of pick your brain, and now I'm like starting to see this timeline. So Green District, you guys have been running about 5 years. Is that correct?
You have an amazing memory, by the way.
Thank you,
dude. People tell you that?
No.
You picked up like 15 things that I said that I'm like, wow, he was listening. Because that's what I'm
always listening.
People don't listen.
Yeah.
They only care about their thoughts. They only care about what they're doing. They only care about where they're going.
Yeah.
They don't listen. And like, I talk a ton, but I'm always listening. And I think that's the difference with a lot of people. They're not really listening to what the person's meaning.
Yeah.
It's not what they're saying. It's what are they meaning.
Right.
Right? Because you can be offended by what somebody says, but what do they mean?
Yeah.
Why did they do that? What does that mean?
That's super interesting too, because I grew up in a Brazilian family. I'm from Brazil, and my family's like really loud. Like we just talk loud. So I'd always be on the phone. My friends are like, "Why are you fighting with?" I'm like, "We're not fighting. We're just loud,"
Yeah.
And sometimes, my wife's from kind of a different background, and they're like quiet, and so sometimes things can get misconstrued by like tonality or something. But it's like, what do I mean? Like, listen to the words that I'm saying and where it's coming from sometimes, right? And I think kind of being able to see through some of that stuff, even like a Kanye who's wild, but there's like, he's right about a lot of stuff. It's just the way he's putting it out there, But 5 years with Green District, you got a kiddo, 4?
Yeah, I got 3 awesome step kiddos, bonus kiddos.
That's awesome.
So Trenton's 21, Luca's 10, Mikey's 8, and Dash is almost 4. So Dash is mine and Rebecca's, and the other ones were little when Rebecca and I got together, the 8 and 10-year-old. And then Trenton was already a grown man. He's a big old boy. But so they don't know much different. But Mikey was the first diaper I changed, so we got a little bond there. And Luca's my guy too. And Dash, he's opened up a new perspective for me on life. He's challenging, but it's really cool. I see his mom and myself in him, Obvi. But they're all really special and unique in their own ways. But that's also changed my thinking in a lot of areas.
Yeah, because I feel like that, happened at the same time kind of for you. And how was it, balancing that family life, especially like right now, right? You got to be traveling around opening these restaurants. How do you find that work-life balance with your family, especially with, your first own child that sounds like a handful sometimes, Yeah,
it's I don't want to say it's difficult. It's challenging, right? But if it doesn't challenge you, or if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And we always want to change. Like everybody should want to evolve every day. People are like, I'm scared of change, and I'm like, well, you're dying then. Because if you're not growing and changing, I think you're dying. So, we learn something from each other every day. But it's it's not a work-life balance. You know, the beauty, which there's no beauty in a pandemic, but like the beauty of the results and the way we manage things now is it's okay to have my dog sitting on my lap in a Zoom or a Teams call. It's okay to have my son on my lap. And if you don't like that, well, I don't want to do business with you.
Right.
And so I make it a purpose to not travel on Monday and Tuesdays most times. It doesn't always happen, but I'd say 75, 80% of the time I stick true to that. And so me and Dashy Boom, man, we just chill out and we do our calls together, and he's on his iPad or he's playing with the Legos, and he gets to come in and I'm like, hey Dash, what do you think about this? We're working with this vendor and they got this salad. And he's like, Daddy, I don't like that. I like broccoli. You know what I mean? And so it's been this cool bond, and it's like he's going to see what that is. And I do have to say, you know, you mentioned Kobe, and thank you for comparing me to Kobe. That's insane to think about. But, you know, in rest
I'm here to hype up, dude. I'm here to hype up.
And rest in peace. But you see how he was with his daughter. That's why, you know, and God rest their soul, you know, they're in heaven looking down on us. But, like, look at what he did with his daughter, and that's business. So, like, if they can do it, why can't we do it? You see all these celebrities and you see these athletes bringing their kids around all the time. Heck, Donald Trump, love him or hate him, whatever. You know, fiscally, obviously, he's a little bit smart with money, right? He maybe should be nicer, but lets those chips fall where they may. But, like, his kids seemingly appreciate him. He brings them around. They're involved. And it seems like they know business, too, because, you know, you ain't managing millions of dollars if you don't actually know business and making more money on it, right? Like, they know business. So, for me, man, it's just been including them in everything. And it's the same with Mikey and Luca and Trent. Like, I want them to be involved in whatever they want to be involved in, you know?
Yeah. Well, so it sounds like it's all boys in the house and then your wife. All boys.
Poor girl.
Yeah, dude. So, and obviously you've been around with those bonus kids, right? And now you're seeing them grow up, right? And turn into their own humans. Have you noticed with Dash, right, maybe like some tendencies where you're like, oh, this guy, he's going to be athletic, or he's going to do this, or he likes to build Legos, right? Because around 4 years old, they start gaining personality, right? Totally. So what have you noticed in the difference of, like, you know, raising all those kids and where they are now?
You know, it's crazy. My mom and dad told me this, and my sister and I are super similar, but also different. You know, she has 7 kiddos, and she's the CEO of her house, and no offense, man, that's a way harder job than mine, and I would not want to do it. But I love those kids. However, it's a really hard job. 5 Daughters Construction's their company. They build custom homes. But what I've seen is it's insane to me to think that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids can grow up in the same household with the same parents, with the same instructions, with the same principles, with the same discipline, and be completely different.
Yeah.
And it's so neat to see the different personalities. It's why I love sports so much. It's why I love Green District. You need everybody, right? I make the metaphor all the time of a band. Drummer, guitarist, singer. Who's the best? Who's the most important in the band? Who knows? But the song would sound like crap if they didn't all 3 do their part.
Right.
And so what's so great in the family is to watch Dash be his little guy, Michael be his little guy, Luca grow into his guy, and Trent's a man. You know, he's on his own now. He's big. He's like 6'4", you know, 280 pounds. But, like, they're all their own independent people, and they become something completely different, yet they came from the same upbringing. It blows my mind.
Yeah, it almost like you then, I mean, the way you described it, it's almost like you're shepherding them to become what they may become, you know? That's
it. And if I, you know, not that I'm the best parent in the world, because I surely am not, but, like, if I could give parents any advice, it's like, man, don't force them into what you think it should be.
Yeah.
See what it is they are and they like, and then encourage them into a path that they're comfortable with. And I think so many parents are just so scared that they're going to make the bad decisions that they did, which is fair. We've all done it. Yet they may never make that decision because they sure as hell are not you.
Yeah.
So don't put them into some box that makes them you. They came from you. They're being raised by you, but give them a break. They may never make that bad decision. Like me, I'll jump off the top of the building. That sounds dope. Dash would be like, how far is that, mommy? Is there a ladder? Can I walk down the steps? You know, I would never ask that question. And, like, but I celebrate that in him. I'm like, why do you want to know that? And he's like, well, it's not safe.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, he's opinionated. So it's like he gets a little bit of it, but, like, he's not me. So, like, I should never be afraid of him making the same mistakes I made. I should make him aware of that, but he needs to develop on his own.
Absolutely. And I don't know, are you into, like, Enneagrams? Have you ever, like, looked into that stuff? What are you? Are you an 8?
I forget. My wife knows all that.
My wife knows. I only know mine. You know, I know, like, Virgo, 8, and just some other stuff. But the more I
might
read
be.
about that stuff, it's like super interesting how people
Powerful.
fall in certain personalities, right? And you can kind of, or even like love languages or something, right? Sometimes
Totally.
you may be loved by like gifts, and you try to give somebody gifts, but they don't feel loved, right? So I think it's
Totally.
definitely a balance of understanding like how each person works. And I think you do a good job of that as, you know, CEO of this thing, because everybody has their own role. You know, I think you don't expect anybody to be anybody other than who they are, you know?
It's funny you say that. That's part of what it is. Like, we're really even trying to get away or do away with possessive pronouns.
Yeah.
Like, it's not my team. Like, you know, Mel
Yeah.
and I joke about it. And she's like, our team.
Yeah.
You know, and she wants to say my team, which is rightfully so. However,
Right.
why not? You know, it's our team. And so getting away from that and making sure that we focus on the values of the individual, and then we find a place for them in the company. So when
Yeah.
I meet somebody and I make a relationship, like, what are your values, Bruno? Like,
Yeah.
you and I hit it off right away, and it was just like kindred spirit because of our personality types.
Yeah.
However, Chris is more of an introvert than me, right?
Yeah.
But in this kind of scenario, he'll talk all day long. But in big groups, he may not be the guy that wants the mic, you know.
Yeah.
But he does a great job when he has to. Point being is when you connect with those people, I think if they're willing to work hard, the skill set's easy. And this is no shade on anybody, and I'm not saying Rob doesn't know food better than me, he does, but I think we could all slice a cherry tomato. I think we could all talk to a customer and be kind. I think we could all put it out there. Maybe not create the recipes like he does, but most of work in life is pretty simple when you really break it down.
Yeah.
I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm just
Yeah.
connecting people, community, and family, and that's not that hard to do. Just love people, give them delicious food, and get to know them. I think
Yeah.
that's the key, right? Like, you look somebody in the eye and
Yeah.
you're like, who's Bruno, man? Like, I
Yeah.
want to know, bro. I want to know more about your lovely wifey.
Yeah.
Want to know about your family. Brazil. Tell me about Brazil, man. Sao
Right.
Paulo. Let's go there together.
Dude, but that's what I thought was so crazy, because we opened that other store, and that's when I met you. And here is the CEO. You could just throw up the store, but you're having each conversation with each client walking in, getting to know their names, who they are. So much so that people were coming again to the second opening, dressed awesome. You know,
Yeah.
like people were dressing up for the event.
It was
and
cool.
it wasn't for the salads. It was, but it wasn't. It was because of the love that you kind of feel when you walk in, you know?
Dude, it's awesome that you notice that, because I
Yeah.
think when you feel that love, you just feel it, right?
Yeah.
You can't help but notice it. And we had this Reddit thread in Louisville, and it was like, what are the best, and I won't say the curse word, but I think it's funny. Anyway, so
Yeah.
there's this Reddit thread, and it said, what's the best salad in Louisville? And there's a couple other great places out there, but, you know, we've been voted
No,
best
no.
salad in Louisville. No.
Just kidding.
We've been voted best salad 5 years in a row, so I think that speaks for itself. So there's this Reddit thread, and people are like, Green District, they're naming their favorites, and they're going through it. And the second to last one, somebody said, you know why I like it? I walk in, and it's like the people like working there.
Yeah.
Like, they're happy. The vibe is different every time. Sometimes it's reggae. Sometimes it's classic rock. Sometimes it's hip-hop. Sometimes it's country. But, like, people are smiling, and they're high-fiving. They're hugging each other. They're joking around, and they're like, I just feel comfortable in there. And then the dude afterwards, this is my favorite part, he goes, nah, man, I hate salads, but I sure F with some Green District. Those are my homies. And I'm like, could you better describe our company? Like, that's
Yeah.
what we are, man. Like,
Absolutely.
we
Well, you
love
guys
it.
even turned me on to, you know, more salad options than, like, I'm not really a salad fan. I like specific vegetables.
I get it.
But some of this stuff is so good. I don't even, you know, I never liked tomatoes growing up. The other day, my wrap, I was almost done with it. Noticed it had tomatoes. I'm like, oh, maybe my palate's changing, you know?
Well, that's
I'm
that
growing
chop. You're growing up for sure, but that's that chop too. You
Yeah.
know, the chop mixes it up, so you kind of get a flavor burst with all the flavors mixed together. And we're adding in some hot items, so like we're trying to get into that world of like Qdoba, Chipotle, Moe's, you know, to where we can have a burrito of sorts, not
Yeah.
just a quote unquote wrap. We've got a Texas toasty coming out, a Fall Guy salad, but we have
Yeah.
warm grains and rice, and we have this green hatch chili pulled chicken thigh. Oh
Ooh.
man, and then a tortilla
You're getting me
soup.
hungry, dude.
I know, right? We're here, man. We good. We got it.
Can we?
We're done.
Just kidding.
Round it up. Round it up.
No, but let me ask you this. So growing up, right, I think with every entrepreneur, there's kind of like these little stories that maybe you look back on and you were like, whoa. Like I was an entrepreneur from day one, from like the time I was 4. Did you have like any little hustles as a kid where you were like, now you look back, you're like, oh, I was doing business all along.
I'll tell you, man, when I really realized what an entrepreneur was and what the hard work was like, my father got sick, and he's still with us, thank you, Jesus. but he got sick when I was a sophomore, and we had a Russian exchange student that lived in my room. We had not a huge house, but a decent house, but 3 bedrooms. So he stayed in my room for a full school year.
Dang, dude.
But Andre Smoking, he was like a brother to me. And when my dad got sick, we had to help with the family business because my dad was an entrepreneur. And I remember carrying these sewing machines that weighed like 600 pounds because he had an interior design company upstairs because he had to move from one building to another, and he bought the buildings. And I just remember thinking, my dad owns these buildings, and he had to do this, and he's sick, and if he didn't do it, the business doesn't work.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'd made like $3,500 on selling a car. I got lucky. My uncle bought me my first car. Thanks, Uncle John. And I said to my dad, I said, what should I do with it? He goes, son, you got to put it in this mutual fund with my financial advisor. So Kevin Bressler's friend, I put my money in it, and it immediately went down like $1,500 or whatever. My dad's like, you got to write it, man. It's a mutual fund. It's a long-term play, son, a long-term play. I said, I don't know what long-term means, Dad. I'm 16. I want my money now.
Yeah.
So he gave me that money back. I took the money, I bought Jordans. So I made friends with all the Finish Line champs, Foot Locker dudes. Sneaker boutiques hadn't quite arisen yet. So the skate shops and the SBs were kind of a hot thing at that time. So I bought a bunch of SBs and Nikes, and then I resold them, and I'm like, dang, I made $3,500 off my $1,800.
Dang.
And I went to my dad, and my dad said, son, that's an entrepreneurial hustle. And he
awesome.
said, I admire that in you. And he said, I'm proud of you for doing that. And so for me, it was like, man, something clicked. And this was before StockX and all the things, And so that was my first hustle, man, and that's why I love them. I got this.
You got Jordan wearing Jordans, bro.
Yeah, and my name was Jordan.
Exactly.
So when I was like 6'7" is when MJ got drafted and hit the shot, right after he hit the shot at North Carolina. And it was like, oh, I think I can play this up, man.
Yeah.
And so that was my first hustle, man, flipping sneaks.
Dude, I look back at a little bit of, when I was growing up, and I remember I had this moment. I was about 12 years old, and we had moved back to Brazil for a year. And we were selling like raffle tickets, right? And I was going door to door because I was trying to win the scooter, right? So, awesome. and the raffle tickets, they won something too. And I was going door to door at like apartment complexes. I'm like 12 years old. And I just kept realizing everybody would buy 5, and they were $1 raffle tickets. So maybe not the most honest thing, right? But I was like, okay, what if I sell it for $2? They'd still buy 5. $3, still buy 5. And I would fill out their name. They get like more entries, right? But I went up to $5. People would still buy 5. And then I was like, man, the power of just being a cute little kid knocking on doors, right? And that's when I realized it's all about kind of like distribution, how you present it, right? And I think you guys have done a great job with the brand, man. Not only does it, again, not only is it great food, but it feels like you. It feels like Tim. It feels like a community and a family. Everybody I've met has taken the time to like sit down with me. I was talking to your CMO the other day for like 45 minutes, and we're just talking about everything under the sun. And it's, I'm happy to be involved. I'm super happy to be involved. What do you guys think, the next step as far as something like this? Do you see yourself ever doing podcasts, bro? Because you're a natural.
I appreciate you saying that, but I want to go back to one thing you said, because I think it's super important. We say if you're 600 pounds or you're 6% body fat, you're welcome in Green District. And then we say, yo, vegans, vegetarians, be nice. If they eat meat, it's okay. I get you don't, and I respect it. But like, be nice, not judgmental. And so I think you're feeling the vibe that is love. Yeah. Right? We say God, karma, universe. For me, it's God and Jesus, whatever you believe, cool, man. But like, it all boils down to love and respect. And if you're loved and respected, and you try the delicious food, and somebody puts their arm around you and says, you know what, let me get you lemonade. Yeah. Let me get you a cookie. You know, like Tim does with everybody.
Dude, Tim is over here founding Chipotle, and he's over here bringing me lemonade. I'm like, bro, you don't need, I could go get, he's like, no. He brought me like 5 cups the other day. 100%. And this lemonade is freaking good.
It's fire. It's fire. So the beauty of it is we love everybody, and we teach them business. But I think the key is we hold them accountable and responsible. Yeah. And it's that sports thing, right? On a team, if you're not getting back on defense, if you're not passing the ball on offense, whatever it is, your teammates are going to keep you in check. Yeah. And that's what's beautiful here. And it really warms my heart that you recognize that everyone lives that. Yeah. You said something way back earlier in the podcast about how we kind of operate within the company. We say we love people, because you mentioned the word promotion. Yeah. We say we love people up, or we love them out. Yeah. And we have let go of people, and it's been fairly amicable, given that we've been open, honest, and transparent. You see this glass wall, you see the glass wall over there. we do that on purpose. I mean, you can see the wires and the pipes, and you can see the people making the food. And we do this on purpose because Green District is transparent.
Yeah.
And as we love you up or we love you out, it's because of your efforts and your contribution to the team. Because expectations get you a paycheck, exceeding expectations gets you promoted. Everybody can get a paycheck, and that's cool. But do you want to do more and be better and grow and evolve? Then exceed those expectations. And so I think part of my life, to go to your second part of the question, I don't want to just do Green District. And the investors, I told them that this is not my swan song, right? However, it's a song that will hopefully never end because this will go on forever. When I'm long and gone, like, I hope the kids want to carry it on. If they don't, I don't really care, honestly. I want them to do what they want to do. Right? And so Green District to me is a mission bigger and badder and better than myself. So I need to diversify my portfolio. And God gave me the gift of gab. Thank you, God. I appreciate that, much to the dismay of my wife and all my friends who have to put up with me. So I feel like if I like to talk and I do it well, maybe me and you should do a podcast together. I think that could be pretty cool.
It'd be so fun. It'd be so fun. And what's crazy, gift of gab for sure, because that sentence you said, right? Like, and can you repeat it too? Because that's exactly where I was going to take it. You said something like doing the minimum will get you a paycheck, going above and beyond will get you what? Can you repeat that? Because I think that applies to everybody.
I don't know what to do with my hands. I black out when I say things. No, I'm just kidding. I said, you get a paycheck because you meet expectations. You get promoted because you exceed expectations.
Absolutely.
And you should definitely check out a book that Tim wrote that it's not out yet. I want to put that, scarcity marketing out there. We're only going to release so many, and it's not out yet. But, he says, if you make your boss's job easier, he will or she will, or the non-binary version of them will love you more. So make it easier. And I think so many times employers are like, well, I did what I was supposed to. Just like kids. And I'm like, my kids did this the other day. It was shocking. We cleaned up the whole area before we went to church. I told them, you're going to clean. So mommy can get ready and nobody's going upstairs. So we cleaned up the whole kitchen, family room area, whatever. And then I said, you guys need to pick up your toys in your room. I went upstairs, they picked up all their toys, and they said, hold on, check this out. The boys call me George and even Dash. I mean, they were about it, man. You gave them a task, a discipline, and they said, look at our closet. They opened the closet. Their Jordans were organized. Their clothes were hung up. And I said, I didn't ask you to do that. And they said, we know. We went above and beyond. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're listening. And it was like, whoa. But I think, like you said, whether it's ghetto or rich or not or poor or everybody in between, just because you live in a big house or drive a nice car doesn't mean you have a good education. There's a drug problem in the wealth end and the poverty end. Like there's an abuse problem emotionally, physically, sexually, whatever, everywhere. It just hides better when there's money. And so I think that that's what it's about. People just need to be loved. And when they're loved and held accountable, watch what they do. Yeah,
and not judged for those experiences, right? Because a lot of us have, individual traumas or things that may have happened in the past. And I think, being able to accept that people come from different backgrounds is the ultimate key. And finding that bridge that connects you and them and that empathy, right? For just understanding where they might be. But
can I give a goofy example? Because I think you'll like it and my wife will love it.
Yeah.
So when I say don't worry about what they say, worry about the meaning. Yeah. So I would never be a cat guy, but I'm a big Bengals fan. So my wife's like, have you seen these Bengal cats? And I mean, they look like wild leopards.
Yeah, my business partner has one. It's wild.
Wild, right? And so she showed me that and she said, it's a Bengal cat and you can name it. And so we named it Ocho Joe, Ocho Cinco, Joe Burrow, of course. So it's Ocho Joe. And we watched this, I don't want to say stupid because that's a mean word, but this non-interesting cat movie, Netflix documentary, whatever they call it, docuseries these days, on cats, right? About how they behave. And it was mind-blowing to me about they're not mean, they're just evolving. They've only been domesticated. Well, they've been domesticated for thousands of years, but like in this environment, living in an apartment with somebody, like these cats are super smart, but they want you to earn their affection. And dogs just blindly say, okay, I'll do it, give me a treat. And I joke, it's like dudes are dogs, chicks are cats, I don't know. Yeah. Right, they're way smarter than us and they know how to play the game. Yeah. Like Jordan Peterson's book, The Female Lobster. Yeah. My point in saying that is, like, I think that we don't work hard enough to make the relationship work or understand the meaning. Yeah. We get mad and offended because it's cancel culture. We have the right. You know what? You looked at me funny, Bruno. Forget you. Right. What? Like, just take a second. We're adults here, right? I get kids and emotions, but like most people, I feel like don't take the time to figure out why that emotion happened.
Yeah.
You know, people don't lash out, right? Hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
People don't lash out just because they want to be a jerk.
Right.
Something happens somewhere, and until you break that barrier, you break down that wall, you're never going to connect to that person. And so we spend as much time in Green District training emotionally as we do with standard operating procedures in the kitchen.
Yeah.
We think it's of equal importance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when people feel like they're taken care of, you know, they do smile when they're making you their food. They do put their arm around you, right? And bring you lemonade, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
freaking awesome. Well, I want to wrap up here.
Yeah.
To everybody that has made it to the podcast so far, if you use the code BruKnows at any local Green District, you'll get a free wrap or food of choice, right?
Absolutely.
And that was set up by Teddy. I don't know if you knew that, but
Absolutely, it's great.
yeah, you're going to be handing out a lot of wraps. You know, I hope you don't mind.
I love it.
Well, Jordan, I want to thank you, man, for jumping on the podcast. It's an honor to know you. Great human being, Jordan, entrepreneur. Anything you want to say to the people before we jump off?
I want to say something to you first,
Yeah.
man. I admire your hustle, and I think it's really great what
Thanks,
you're
man.
doing. I admire your morality. I admire your beliefs. I admire what you're doing. I wish you the best of luck in these endeavors as you go back to Brazil to fight that out. But we have to stay connected.
Absolutely.
And, you know, networks are easier now because
Yeah.
of technology. And I think we're going to be global pretty quickly. We know nationally we're getting a good foothold already, and we want to go international. But I just want you to know, and those out here that are following this guy, stay with him. Listen to him. You're going to learn a lot. He's a really smart kid. I can call you kid since I just turned 40 and part of the Elder Americans Act. I'm old now. But he's a smart kid, and he's doing the right thing. And I think that's what you need to understand, folks, is doing the right thing always wins. My dad always said, take the next right step. And my mom always taught me how to follow the Bible and do the right thing and have morality, right? We can all agree that there's good moral code in a lot of religions, right? And the thing is just love people and get to know what their hearts are and stop judging people. Get over yourself, man. The world will go on when you're not here. So remember, it's about the mission. We say at Green District, it's people over profits, mission over margin. If you lead with people, the money follows. And I love you. And I mean that when I say it. Most people say it and they don't mean it. I really mean it.
Good. Start throwing them up like that. Well, thanks for coming in, Jordan. I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.
Peace.